So in the previous video, you learned about observing your thought, realizing you are not your thought, right? Because what happens is when we are possessed by our thoughts, it becomes our identity. We think we are angry, but we are not angry. We are, whatever your name is, right? Like you're the space that contains your thoughts. You are not your thoughts, right? And that's what happens when our thoughts possess us, is that we think we are our thoughts, right? I made a whole playlist of videos for that. So you can check those out if you want to learn more. But assuming you already know those things, this advice I'm going to give you in this video is going to help accelerate that process, which is catching your negative thoughts and emotions early. Okay, so whenever you feel that negative thought or emotion bubble up, that's when it's first starting to gain momentum, right? So before it gains that momentum, use one of those techniques, or observe, right? Observing is one of those techniques, or put your attention in your body, right? Use one of those techniques to be present, because like I said, when you're present, you're not feeding your thoughts anymore. You're disidentified with your thoughts. You're detached from your thoughts, right? When you observe a thought, you're detached from it. You can't observe something and be attached to it. So use one of those techniques. So I'm gonna use my inner body, for example, the inner body technique, right? So let's say I start thinking of something that's bothering me, right? And the moment that thought comes up, I'm very mindful. I'm very aware. Like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this. That means that I'm thinking. I'm thinking a negative thought that's about to go down a negative spiral. So it's so much easier to catch it at an early stage, right? So the moment I notice that, I put my attention in my inner body, because that will instantly make me present. It will instantly stop me from feeding my negative thoughts. And what you're gonna see is when you don't hold on to the negative thoughts, they pass through, right? So now you stop the momentum, and that's the key, right? Stopping the momentum early, right? So every morning, it's best to start every morning, right? Just be really mindful of how you feel, right? Usually when you wake up, you have some space, especially if you wake up and you put your attention in your body, you have some space before your negative thoughts really start to ramp up and go in a negative direction. So like I said, once it spirals out of control, it has a lot of energy to it. So it's gonna be really hard to, be present with it, because when it has a lot of energy, it's almost like it has a lot of gravity, and because there's so much gravity, it possesses your mind and takes it over. And now you just identify with it, and it's just so hard to get out of it. And the emotion is so strong, right? So every day you have a new chance to just be more mindful before that trigger really hits, right? Just catch all your emotions at the early stage. Be really aware of how you're feeling, and be present before the momentum gets going. So I took it another step further. For example, when I was in school, right, back in high school, I was lucky enough to go through this intense presence experience. So I knew that certain classes I would go into, there's certain people that would potentially trigger me, or who I'm just worried about because drama or whatever, right? And so before I would even get in the class, I would just get really present, right? I would just put all my attention in my body, because I know that usually I have a habit of getting triggered by this specific situation or this specific person. So I would get really present and go in that classroom, and that just changed everything for me, because if I'm able to cultivate this inner space, then like there's no room for the negative momentum to build. Sure, once in a while, I will feel some negative emotions crawl up, but as I'm able to stay present and let the emotions, flush past me, it just goes right past me, instead of me attaching to it and feeding it, right? So, and look, there's gonna be times where you fail, right? There's gonna be times where you do good, and then day 2 or day 3, you forget and you get triggered. And that's okay, just kind of get back at it. And so that's also another thing is, if you starve your, if you detach, right, you're starving your negative emotions, which is a good thing. However, sometimes we do this, and the thoughts lose energy. But then day two or day three or day five, you start to, whatever reason, choose to think about it again, and and you feed it again, right? So just kind of be very mindful about it. So you're starving it, and you're not picking it back up, right? So uh, in conclusion, right, catch your emotions early. Be present early, and try, and we're pretty predictable people because we have pretty predictable habits and patterns and daily routines. So the routines, the people that triggers you the most, right? And if we see them every day, if it's in the workplace, be present before you go into that situation, right? Or whatever time or trigger it is. So there's other videos. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's other videos in this playlist. I'll link it in the description below that you can check out so you can understand what the heck I'm talking about. So thank you for listening.